Next up, we have Rahul Bharadwaj, co-founder of Miras Cafe, which is one of Fairfield's only vegan restaurants. You should totally go check it out after this. He's not only a chemical engineer with a Ph.D., but also a culinary enthusiast who turned his passion for food into a thriving restaurant. Alongside his wife Pia, Raul opened Mira's Cafe to bring a unique blend of Indian Asian fusion cuisine to their community, inspired by flavors from their extensive travels around the world. Originally from India and having migrated to the US 20 years ago, the Bharadwajs moved from the hustle of Louisville, Kentucky, to the calmer surroundings of Fairfield, where Raul could fulfill his lifelong dream of starting a restaurant. In 2020, facing health challenges, Raul adopted a vegan diet which dramatically improved his management of type 2 diabetes. His personal health transformed deeply and influenced the cafe's ethos, focusing on plant-based dishes that are as nourishing as they are flavorful. And he's going to be talking to you today about how he reversed his diabetes. Give a warm welcome to Raul.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Hello, everyone. First and foremost, I would love to thank everybody for coming here, and a big shout out to Cheyenne and Laura for organizing this event. And I know this is the second event this is the second time they've done this event, and I see a huge upsurge in the attendees and everything about this fest. So I'm really thankful that I got the opportunity to share my story here with you all. I know Mike, his last talk, if you were here, went into science. So we're going to continue that, but not as deep as he went in his talk. So I'm sure you're familiar with the particle wave duality theory from physics. If you're not, then what it means is that if you look at all the waves, sound waves, light waves that are out there in the universe, and if you look at particles down to the subatomic size, both particles and waves can satisfy both equations. So essentially, a wave can behave like a particle can behave like a wave. So if we are assembly of particles, that means we're also vibrating. We can satisfy the equation for being a wave, but just vibrating at a very high frequency. So if everything's vibration, then I just want you to keep that thought in mind, and I'll come back to it. So like Cheyenne said, I feel like I was in school forever, and that came at a price of having a very stressful lifestyle. You don't have time for yourself. But then, in hindsight, when I think about it, there is more to the story. Because sometimes you feel overworked or you feel tired and you're not able to go through your day because you're not in your best health. And that is what was happening with me progressively. I went to undergrad, then went to master's, then went to grad school, and went and did. I was a postdoc, and then joined the industry, and then just kept going up. There was no breaks. And then while that was happening, I got married, got 2 kids, and so there was just plate was getting full and full, and I just didn't have time for me. Like me, when I say me, this body. And so and then all of that, you set a goal in your life, and you're doing everything to achieve it. But then, in that process, if you lose your body, because that's the true treasure, that you have, and that's the only thing that you cannot recreate, or other things in life can wait, or you can get them again. But body, you're born with it, and that's the only thing you're going to go with. So anything you can do to take care of this, it's got to be of the most important. So I got diagnosed with diabetes when I was 29. So I was quite disappointed when that happened, and it just happened. We were shopping for health insurance, and we're like, "Oh, we got to get some tests done." I was like, "Okay, yeah." They do your blood work, and my blood sugar was at 350 some, and it was a time in my life I was so young that I didn't even understand these numbers. And then when you do your research and you find out, oh my God, like am I about to die now, or do I need to be taken to emergency, or? But it was a big shock. I was disappointed, and I was kind of like, why me, and why did it happen? And and that led to obviously going and go and see endocrinologists. And I had diabetes for 9 years, and in those 9 years, I went to 5 different endocrinologists that I changed either because of moving, or I didn't agree with them or didn't like them, whatever. But and every time I would see a doctor, and I remember the first time when I was talking to a doctor, going and telling them that I was diagnosed with diabetes. What are my options? And they look you in the eye and say, well, you can manage it with some medication, good diet, maybe some exercise if you can, and then you pretty much got to live with it all your life. So that was a hard one to take in, but the other 4 gave me the same answer, and they said, no, it's not reversible. There's no cures for these things, and you just got to take your medication. You can, at the best, you can just get your medication dose lower, and you might be able to stop it for some time, but then it's not going to go away. So I kind of accepted that okay, this is okay. It's going to be life, and I'm still very young, but uh, you know that then I started looking into the science of like what happens when you're diabetic. So the thing with diabetes, it's a silent crisis because you don't hear anything. Like if something's wrong with your body, sometimes uh, um, like certain conditions, for example, will tell you a telltale sign like something's wrong. But with diabetes, for a lot of people, it can go undetected for a very long time. So it's a silent killer because what happens is that now you've got your body has lost its ability to process the sugar that goes in the blood, and it stays in the blood. And now your blood, and Mike was talking about all the plumbing in your body. So your blood's going to every organ. And now this blood is charged with sugar molecules, and now it's going to all of these organs. So the viscosity of your blood's changed, the chemistry of the blood's changed, and now your organs have to deal with it because it's going through all the vital organs and everything. And then over time, it takes a toll on your body, and you could have like, it takes a toll on your kidneys, your liver, your heart. And then because of diabetes, there are studies that correlate this, that people who get diabetes also get cholesterol. And then it just keeps getting worse. So it was same for me. I started with 2 pills when I was first diagnosed. And then on the 9th year, I was at 6 pills, which was 4 of them were for blood sugar. 1 of them was for cholesterol because my cholesterol was just going out of whack. And 1 of them is for kidney protection. And that medication that's for kidney protection is the same medication that's given to blood pressure patients to to lower their blood pressure. So essentially, I was getting it just to protect my kidneys. But what happened over time was like my body got dependent on those on those medicines. So I just had accepted that, okay, this is what I'm going to live like, and, got insurance and whatever, and I had a family. I was like, if something happens to me, at least, you know, they're going to be okay, and, started making, you got to plan for life. Um, but and within my professional career, there was a point where I was traveling 50% of the time. So I struggled with, just keeping up with meals, and then there was socialization sometimes. You got to go drink, so you got to look at your dose, whatever dose I'm taking. So in short, it was just a very rough journey. And then there was a pivotal moment in my life, and my wife, she ever since we were together, I was always like I was always like chubby growing up, and slightly I wouldn't call obese, but like overweight. And she would always encourage me to, hey, do workout. You need to like do something. I was like, I'd nod my head, and then I would never tell her like that. I just don't have the energy to do it. Like, I know you're telling me to do it, but I just can't, like, because you're if you're diabetic, you lack the energy to do tasks because you're dealing with nerve pain and whatnot. So it was just like every time she would tell me, it would be a struggle. I would feel the disappointment, but there was nothing I could do. Like, I didn't have the energy to go play with my kids, leave the workout alone. Then one time we were stuck in Canada for about a couple of months, and then I always wanted to do this course. It's a meditation and yoga course, Inner Engineering. So if you ever get a chance, try it. That was, I feel like that's when things started really changing in my life. But it wasn't like an exact moment that I can pinpoint, but that's when things started to, and this was back in 2019. And you know, uh, it was a pivotal point because after going through that meditation course, every time I would eat meat, and I was a big meat eater before that, and every time I would eat meat, I just got a feeling that I'm eating another creature who didn't want it to die. It was weird. So I started eating like the sauce, and then just not eat the actual meat. But I knew something had changed in me. But I was still unhealthy. I was still struggling with my diabetes. That didn't get better. So then one day, Pia came home after a girls' night, and she said, "Oh, I went to my friend's place, and she had this book, and I think you should read it." I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll check it out." And kind of like being the older me, always like limited energy that I can, I got to manage my tasks, what I'm going to focus my energy on or not. But then and this was right around when COVID had happened. So then in our family, we were just everybody. We had this challenge that everybody's going to pick up a book, and we're all going to read and have a common reading time. So and she wanted me to read Autobiography of a Yogi, and I knew that's a heavy book. So I was like, okay, I can't read that now. That I don't have the mindset for that. But I told her I'm going to read this. Then she was like, okay. And then it was the first week of June, 2020, that I finally picked up this book. And the day I picked it, I couldn't put it down. So it's written by a medical doctor, and the doctor, Dr. Nandita Shah, she has been practicing a plant-based lifestyle, vegan lifestyle. Vegan, when the vegan word didn't even exist back in the 80s. She has been practicing all her patients, and she has helped patients with diabetes, heart disease, and autoimmune conditions, and whatnot. Long list of diseases. And I felt like that a doctor, finally I found that doctor that I could look in the eye. I mean, I couldn't see her, but like she was talking to me. Like she was explaining what is going on in your body, and what can you do about it. So so it was reverse diabetes in 21 days. Sounds super aggressive, right? Um, and then I was hooked on it. I mean, um, come talk to me if you want to know like the details of it. But what I did was, in simple terms, I found this device that you can hook onto yourself, which monitors your blood pressure, your blood sugar in real time. And you can, there's an app on the phone that every time you tap it, it tells you where you are with your blood sugar. Because previously I used to just poke myself and measure my blood sugar, but this was a great device that helped me. So, the day I picked up the book, that was my day zero, or you can call it day one. And and I'm the one who does the cooking in the house. So, I picked it up early. I just got up early that day, and I picked it up, and then I went to Pia, who's my wife, went to her and told her, I'm going to be a vegan from today. And luckily for me, she had already determined to be a vegan like a year before me, but her reasons were spirituality, and my reasons were, at that time was, if this can help me, I'm all for it. And then on the seventh day, I was keeping in touch with my endocrinologist at that time. On the seventh day, I had to go from those 4 pills to 2 pills because my blood sugar was just dropping. And good thing I had that monitor, because it was telling me at night, especially, like it was just dropping down so low. And then my doctor said, just don't take these 2 medications. And then I just kept falling. Then I was keeping in touch with her, and then on the 14th day, I had to stop all my medications, and I had to stop my blood sugar. I didn't stop the cholesterol just yet, and the kidney protection one. But then my doctor said, okay, come see me. So I got an appointment later. But what was happening in my body was, it was things were getting reset, and my blood sugar was was dropping so fast, where I would remember, just even on a very light meal, it would just spike to like 200 or beyond. And my A1Cs used to be like in the eights, we were talking about, like scary. And then now I'm right at 5.1. And you know it took some time to drop the A1C, because A1C takes an average of 3 months of your blood sugar in your cells, because it's taken from the cells, and not exactly just the sugar that you have at that moment, like the other meters. So yeah, it was, I what I was seeing was like results that I had never seen in those 9 years. And I, I I just couldn't stop. And the book gives you that promise that, you know that let food be thy medicine, and let medicine be thy food. And to me, that was so powerful, because, if you have a condition, you'll do everything to get better. Now, whether you pop a pill or you consume something, at the end of the day, your goal is to get better. So it doesn't matter how you get there. But the thing is, if you are just on pills, pills are not designed to cure you. They're just designed to suppress the symptoms. So your blood sugar is going to go down, and you can just function till your next meal. And then you got to do something about the next one, and so on and so forth. And then at the end of the day, you are putting a foreign chemical in your body to regulate something, and it creates a lot of side effects. Like I always struggled with, like metformin's one of the common drug used in controlling diabetes, and one of the side effects is like indigestion and acid reflux. Like I dealt with that, but you don't deal with that if you're just trying to heal yourself with food, and especially plant food, because we are naturally alkaline beings, and everything that comes from plants, most things are naturally alkaline. So, but when you put meat in your body, then your body, the pH level in your body drops because your stomach has to generate that acid to digest that. Whereas when you put something alkaline in your body, then your body doesn't have to use acid to digest it. So this kind of gave me like a much deeper understanding of what was actually happening in my body. And having a scientific background, I appreciated it even more because I was trying to just visualize what was actually happening in the body. And uh, and the book, uh, and and then I read another book, with, this was Reversing Diabetes in 21 Days. There's another great book by Dr. Neil Barnard. So, being from India, I really was proud that there was an Indian doctor who has this cure about diabetes. But then there's an American doctor, Dr. Neil Barnard, who has a similar book, and they both talk about the same thing. The reversing in 21 days is definitely more aggressive, gives you a more aggressive approach, but I loved it. I like when somebody gives you a solution, it's aggressive, it works. So for me, that was the perfect one. So if it ever happens to me again, I don't think it will, but if it does, that's the approach I'm taking. Because Neil Barnard's book is really good, but it's not as aggressive on the patient. And then, both the books echoed the same message. And in fact, I think it was Dr. Shah's book that referenced Dr. Neil Barnard's. And he wrote that book in 2006. So it's not like he just came out with this study and, it's not brand new. This has been happening for decades. And I felt like being, my day job, I started my career, I used to love being in the lab, doing things, developing products. And for me, this was an opportunity for my body being the lab, and I don't have to worry about anything because food does not give you side effects. And, if you are given a medication that has no side effect, you'd be a fool not to try it. So another important thing here is to understand that when you do something like this, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle change. If you want to remain healthy, I mean, otherwise, my body has tendencies to slip in. I had type 2 diabetes, so my body's probably gonna go back in that tendency. Now, the amazing part is that it takes you years and years of abuse to this body to get unhealthy. But it only took me 21 days to just be back to how I used to feel. Like I felt 15 years younger. I lost 40 pounds in that process. That was something I didn't even like. That was not even my goal. Like I used to be a heavier guy, but that just came as a benefit. And I had the energy to go work out, to go do something, because I was like, all right, what do I do now? So my old self was, I tried different diet changes, different this, that, oh, maybe not eat this, let's avoid this, maybe I'll eat less red meat, that's gonna work for me. And, and there's limited impact, it's unsustainable food system. And I'll talk about that later on in my presentation. And then you're also eating mindlessly. I was eating mindlessly because you're, like when you're in college, you don't think much about it, and then you don't think about, and that's why that's why I was sick. And but then once I adopted the new lifestyle, it was a permanent lifestyle transformation, and I was able to reverse a chronic condition, and then eventually my I stopped taking my cholesterol medication. All of my cholesterol numbers just fell back right where they're supposed to be. And then I tried to take the. This was interesting. I tried to take the blood pressure medication or the kidney protection medication out. My blood pressure just went up. Then I called my doctor and said, "Well, it's the same medication." That's when I found out it's the same medication that's given to blood pressure patients. So then, and the doctor said, "Oh, it solves both purposes. It protects your kidney too." So then that was something I had to kind of, wean my body off. But within a matter of couple of months, like I was just a new person. And then you also being being a vegan and being on a whole food plant-based diet, I was eating more consciously because remember I told you I had that meter. It told me everything, like how, what, what is my body liking, what is it not liking, what's spiking my sugar, what's not spiking my sugar, so on and so forth. So, being in a very unsustainable lifestyle, you know, I felt like, if you look at the unsustainability aspect, I think like our numbers are off. You said there's 70 billion. I think my whatever number I looked up, it was like 80 billion animals that are raised every year to feed a fraction of the 8 billion on this planet. So, I was at a conference in 2012. It was focused on water filtration, and so in 2012, I was listening to this talk, and that professor said that in about 12 to 10 to 15 years, there's going to be like a water shortage, or water shortages are going to come. So at that time, it really struck me because that's also a field that I'm involved in with my day job. And so say if there are, and now what do you see? You see the Mississippi River, you see the Colorado River, and you hear about potential water shortages. Water desalination is not a practical plan to at least for the inlands. It's very very expensive and changes the chemistry of the ocean and whatnot. So if a water shortage comes, the first thing that's going to be short is going to be food. And growing food is going to be difficult. And then growing food for the animals is going to be even harder. So what's going to be sustainable? Like if you can get your food from your backyard. I mean, yeah, I know in today's times it's hard, but there are people who are doing it. But if you just relied on plants, makes it more sustainable. If you look at the future, if you know that water is going to be a scarce commodity or a scarce resource in the future. So once I saw the benefits, I just couldn't help but talk to my friends about it, and just every single day I was enjoying the benefits of sort of feeling like 15 years younger, and you feel good about. I mean, my reasons were selfish in the sense like it was for my health. I did it, but after some time, I started feeling a sense of compassion for, like, so many times, like I had, like I would not even, when we would go out and eat, like how many animals did I had to like kill to just feed myself? And so I felt like when there is a healthier way to live, and a lifestyle that will not make you sick, I questioned all of my decisions, and then my wife loves talking about it, like where you eat when we were meat eaters, we would eat something, and then you'd say, I don't like it, and so she always says like that animal had to die for your meal. That was your response. So, but you really look at sustainability, and I felt like my new passion was just helping people who are struggling with their health, just share my journey, like how, when it feels impossible, it's really very easy. Um, and the the thing about this technique is, as long as it doesn't matter if you're type 1 or type 2, whether you're on pills or insulin or you're taking other forms of medication, that the one requirement is that you need to have pancreas in your body. And if you don't have pancreas, or like surgically removed, or you were in an accident or something, that's a different thing. But even like you've been diabetic for 30, 40 years, I mean, this book had like so many experiences of patients who have struggled with diabetes, heart disease, and many autoimmune conditions, who have had it for ages. I was able to convince my dad, who had diabetes, and he also got it at a young age. And it's easy to say that it's genetics. Yeah, it's genetics because that part or that function of your genetics is just weak. So you got to watch out. And I was able to help my dad, who had diabetes for 30 years, to reverse it. And yeah, he's doing great. And yeah, initially it was a lot of resistance, but yeah, when he saw me with my results, um, so so when you look at plants, the and like when you think about just vegan diet, it's not just like things derived from plants. I mean, it's easy to eat that, but what you want to strive for is a whole food plant-based diet. And I think it was referenced in Mike's talk several times that it's you just by going vegan is not the answer, but it has to be a whole food plant-based diet. So if you look at the science behind it, and you look at nature, in nature, if you were to take some fast food and you go out in the wild, you put it in front of some wild animals, what do you think they're going to do? They'll come and probably sniff it and then just walk away, because animals that are living in the wild, they're in tune with the nature, and they know that putting a certain food group in there, they're just going to ignore it. And if you talk about toxins, let's go back to that. That if we're all vibration, and imagine the amount of toxicity that is injected into animals, when they're raised, and those toxins stay in their blood chemistry, it stays in their muscles, and then there's a process, they're killed, and then they are, you've got those toxins in your food. Now they might be in a very low concentration, but then you're eating that every day, day in, day out, that those toxins add up. And it's important that if you go on a whole food plant-based diet, that you pay attention to what you're eating, and pick the foods that are more nutrient dense than others, and keeping a fiber-rich diet. And it's a lot easier when you're on a whole food plant-based diet versus when you're on a carnivore diet to have enough fiber in your diet. So for me, having reversed my condition, and also reversing the condition without taking any pills, I feel like that's the perfect example. If you go take that fast food to a wild animal, that if you're in tune with nature, your body if you eat the foods that naturally grow around you, your body is going to reset. It's going to, it's going to follow the course of nature and make you healthy again, and and it and and when you go through that journey, you'll find ways of what is needed. Like for example, for me, like I didn't work out. I never used to, and I used to blame my schedule. And I'm so busy. I don't have time for this. I don't have, but it's really, you can do so much in your day, but if you're struggling with your health, everything becomes a challenge. But when you're not, and then some conditions actually just play with your mental health too. And for me, I just found that clarity, like just having healed and not, and I felt like I was just like moving towards depression slowly, and but then I saw this ray of light through this book, and changing that. And then after I read that, I was like a constant, every time I would be on the have some time, I would research more and more and find out more, subscribe to more YouTubers who are doing, promoting veganism and whatnot. So I'm going to share a little story. So Cheyenne touched it on a little bit. So when I graduated high school, I had two options. I got into culinary schools, and I also got into engineering schools. And my mom asked me, what do you want to do? I told her, I'm just going to go to a culinary school. The brochure looks way cooler, and I don't want to do engineering. And then my dad asked me the same question separately, and I told him, yeah, I want to go to culinary school. And so he kind of like said, he convinced me to go to the engineering route, and I was like, I rolled my eyes, but I was like, okay, you're paying for it, so whatever you say. So, but I did go in that journey. I didn't go to school for learning culinary skills, but it was something like I was always fond. I'd have great passion for food cooking and eating, and then I always enjoyed watching my mom cook, and then fast forward, like over the years, I was the one who loved cooking, and I was the cook of the house, and I kept training myself on trying different dishes. Obviously, up until like 4 years ago, all my dishes were meat based dishes, like yeah. But but I kept that passion alive, and it was easy to always like not let that passion of me die, even though I was struggling with this chronic condition. Sometimes I would get hangry, and that's a common symptom if you're struggling with diabetes. You get hangry because it's just your hormones making you like super hungry, but and then since I traveled a lot, I got to experience global flavors, and every time I would visit a new country, I would try to eat their local dish, or something that's famous in that area, or whatever. So I would always bring back some spice, or like some sauce, or a recipe that I really liked. So that helped me develop recipes over time. And then once I went on a plant-based diet, there was a moment in my life I thought that, no, this dream, I don't know. I'm going to a whole food plant-based diet, and you're watching everything. And so for a very brief period of time, that dream sort of faded away. But then as I got, as I got healthier, I started like expanding my universe of eating, because when you're brand new to being a vegan, like you feel like, oh, what I'm gonna eat? Like, what about milk? What about yogurt? What about cheese? You feel like you're in this box, and you only got like few things on your table. But the reality is that we don't know about those food groups because the marketing company, when you watch the ads of foods on TV, none of them is about plants. It's all about Arby's or all the. It's all about meat and dairy industry. It's $1 trillion industry, and so. But then, if you educate yourself, you look at resources, you look at recipes, and in today's time, like if you are looking for a vegan recipe, just go to YouTube. Like you type the name of the dish and vegan, and it'll give you that. It's that simple. But I always enjoyed developing recipes. For me, it was like developing any product, and you control your, you pick your raw materials, you control your process and whatnot. So I've always find nice similarities between my day job and cooking. So that kind of brought us to things happened, and we decided to move to Fairfield, and on the very first trip when we were here, we found out that a cafe was gonna be going on sale, and I knew nothing about ever running a restaurant. I mean, it was a distant dream, but we just found out about it, and then we just loved Fairfield, and then fast forward, we decided to move to Fairfield, and it kind of happened a little mystically because we had just built a house in Louisville, and we thought we were never going to move from Louisville, and we just built the house in 2020 as I was going through my health journey, and yeah, but this call was so much strong that we decided to kind of uproot ourselves from Louisville and move to Fairfield, and then both of us, me and my partner, my wife Pia, we both looked at our passions, and she's been a global leader in HR, and my skills have been more on the technical side, but we kind of looked at our skills and passions, and to come up with a plan, how we're gonna run a restaurant, and so it was a long process, going through that. It was nerve-wracking on days, but overall it was very rewarding, and for me, in my mind, it was develop a product, and every time I would get nervous, I would remind myself that I've been in training all these years, just cooking at home and trying different recipes. Now I just got to scale up, and just cooking for a family to cooking for like a big, let's say 50, 100 people at once. So my day job really helped me with those disciplines. How do you scale up without freaking out? So now my goal is to, every time I hear diabetes, I just can't help and I walk over and just talk to them and let them know that, hey, there's a cure out there, by the way, if your endocrinologist hasn't told you. And I just try to share my journey, and at the cafe we actually keep 2 books that I read that helped me change reverse my diabetes at the cafe. One of the books that I had showed by Dr. Nandita Shah, and the other one by Dr. Neil Barnard. So I feel like it's almost like a responsibility, that because I was fortunate enough to find the solution and to be able to implement it, that if I know anyone or hear somebody struggling with this condition or something similar, I just don't feel shy to just tell them that, hey, there's a cure out there if you're interested. So for Mira's Cafe, for those of you who haven't been there, it's a plant-based organic restaurant that was that was started by my wife and me and our wonderful team that helped us with every step in the way. And we source local from our local farmers here in Iowa. And then, you know, and the other important aspect of our food is that we cook it with love. And
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
It was nice meeting you.
Yeah, thank you. Is you know, mindful preparation in the sense, you know, if you know, I talked about vibrations, and you know, if you've ever cooked a meal when you're like angry, and if you cook the same meal, same ingredients, everything, and you're in a blissful mood or cheered up, have you ever seen the difference in the taste? I have, like, many times. And so we try to intentionally keep a calm environment in the kitchen, because if we are all vibration and everything's vibration, you know, you want to put the best vibration in the food. And you know, that's been our goal, to not have that stress, because you got to get through the day. Now you got to do it with a smile, or you're gonna stress throwing stuff. So we try to be the opposite of Gordon Ramsay. And you know, this helps us. You know, if we do this, it helps us create a sustainable future. You know, when I used to travel and I had switched to a healthier lifestyle, I felt like it's so hard to find a good meal when you're traveling, especially when you're going to airports. Like when those doors open and you step out, all you smell is like fried food and alcohol. That's it. Those are the two things that you smell. And if you're looking for something healthy or a whole food, yeah. But when you are a vegan, you learn to find your food, and that's something that I enjoyed traveling again. Now I don't enjoy the big dinners with you know, that's nothing for vegans, but I do enjoy just going out and just eating healthy. You know, because previously I would just eat whatever's there, and I would not speak up that, hey, maybe I'm not a huge fan of that or whatever. But now I've learned, like, I would learn to say no. Like, okay, I'm not gonna eat it. And I've gone to the length where if they're going to a steakhouse, I'm just gonna order something, or I'll figure it out. I'll go to the grocery store, get some salad, or I'll figure it out. I would much rather do that than do, you know, just put my body through something. And then, you know, and so for us, Mira's Cafe is also an effort to give our community that place where they can have clean food and healthy food, and majority of that food, which is whole food, plant based, and then that's, if I did not own a restaurant, I would be looking for a place like that to have every time I'm eating out. This is a picture of me when I was, this is about 10 years ago, and the picture behind me is Sanjeev Kapoor. He's a famous chef from India, and I remember going to his restaurant in Canada, and someday, you know, just had a dream in my mind that, you know, I'm gonna also have a restaurant, and I remember myself then, and you know, and when I look back at that time, like how, you know, I was struggling with my health, and which also affected other areas of my life, and now, you know, I feel like a completely different person, and now I do have time to go play with my kids, you know, get some workout, and manage two jobs at the same time, and then, you know, just be, you know, a jigsaw piece in the community, that, you know, that we're doing our part to build a more sustainable community. you know, uh, so if you ever if you're considering going on a plant-based diet, if you ever try it, give it your 100%. Just embrace it and see what changes it can bring for you. And it's you can go cold turkey. I went cold turkey, or you can go. See, even the terms use animals, but you can, or you can go slow. But the choice is yours. It doesn't take much if you have to do it starting right now. And there are so many tools and so much research out there that'll give you the tools that you need to. And both of these books that I read, they just don't tell you how to get better, but behind those books are like so many great recipes that tell you on day 1 do this, day 2 do this, day 3, and blah blah blah. So we were talking about vibrations. So if you think about it, then all those animals that are are killed, and animals, and if everybody's vibrations, imagine the suffering they go through at the last seconds. And if you're a moving life on this planet, no matter you're big, small, you try to kill something or kill someone, they do their best to fight for their lives till the very last breath. So imagine, the vibrations of that being at that time, and you take that and you consume it, and then your human body has trillions and trillions of cells. New cells are being formed, and cells are being maintained, and cells are being they're dying. And the new food that you put in your body is going to help make the new cells, and it's going to make nourish the current cells. So if you take that energy in, and especially when you have a choice, it's not like you're starving. And what meal would you pick? And if everything's vibration, wouldn't you want to raise your vibration with your food? And then I feel like having been through this journey, there was a point in my life I thought, like, okay, there are many ways your life can end. And for me, I always used to think that this could be that one way that that my life will end. But being on the other side, I feel like I just got another shot at life. Like when you're playing video games and then you click somewhere, you got to know where to click though. That gives you an extra life. I just felt the same, that just going through this journey, just somehow found out about this, thanks to my wife for bringing that book to me, and I just got an extra chance at life, and it helped me just feel younger again, get rid of something that I thought was impossible. And so if you or any one of you have a loved one that is suffering from this chronic condition or heart disease, please come talk to me. I'm not going to charge anything. I would love to help you or help them. And with that, I would like to thank you all for coming.